By no means am I an expert at voice-related search. HP is starting to get a little bit more involved in the space, and as a result of that, and Ross putting me on the hook for this, I did a little bit of research and recon to put some things together, and I kind of wanted to start off because I knew that John was going to have a rough night and we might need some comedy. I wanted to start off with a little bit of a clip here that just kind of underscores kind of voice and cracking a couple jokes at it. So Alexa, roll the footage.
The new Amazon Echo has everyone asking Alexa for help.
Alexa, what time is it? What the hell is wrong with this blasted thing? Amanda!
But the latest technology isn't always easy to use for people of a certain age.
These kids done bought me a busted machine again. Odessa!
That's why Amazon partnered with AARP to present the new Amazon Echo Silver, the only smart speaker device designed specifically to be used by the greatest generation. It's super loud and responds to any name even remotely close to Alexa, so they can find out the weather.
Allegra, what is the weather outside?
It is 74 degrees and sunny.
Huh?
It is 74 degrees and sunny.
Where?
Outside.
What about it?
The temperature outside is 74 degrees and sunny.
I don't know about that.
The latest in sports.
Clarissa, how many did old Satchel strike out last night?
Satchel Paige died in 1982.
How many he get?
Satchel Paige is dead.
He what now?
Died.
Who did?
Satchel Paige.
I don't know about that.
Even local news and pop culture.
Anita, what them boys up to across the street?
They are just playing.
They what now?
They are just playing.
You say they just playing now?
Yes, they are just playing.
I don't know about that.
Pair it to smart devices like your thermostat.
Alessandra, turn the heat up.
The room is already 100 degrees.
Are you trying to kill me, Alize?
The new Amazon Echo Silver plays all the music they loved when they were young.
Angela, play black jazz.
Playing jazz.
It also has a quick scan feature to help them find things.
Emilia, where did I put the phone?
The phone is in your right hand.
And it has an feature for long rambling stories.
So then I gave him $5, and he said I only gave him $1. I said, I know I gave you a $5. Because I only had a 5 and a 1 on me. And this is the $1 right here. So, I mean, you tell me who's crazy.
Amazon Echo Silver. Get yours today. I said get yours today.
To order Amazon Echo Silver, send a check or money order to Amazon.com right now.
Anyway, I just thought that was a great way to kick things off. I mean, if you look at it, this video was actually done back in May 13th of 2017. There's approximately 18 million views to date. When you think about how many actual Amazon products have probably been sold to date, just from Amazon directly, it's about 3x the number of views of this video. So the fact that, you know, well over a year ago, SNL is already making jokes about these types of devices obviously speaks to the fact that they're very apparent in our day-to-day lives. One thing to call out, though, is that if you look at what it used to be when this voice generation or this voice movement started, it was just Amazon, it was Echo. If you look at it, actually about only 32% of people are actively using voice via a device like an Echo. Realistically, the majority of things have started to shift out. About 81% of people use voice day in, day out on something like their cell phone, their mobile device. And then interestingly enough, what we're starting to see a lot more of are all these other connected devices. So bought a new Samsung TV, my TV. You can go ahead and tell it what you want to see. You can request YouTube clips. And 21% of the population that use voice also use similar functionality. And then if you look at some of the other things, I unfortunately have a very old car, so I don't have Google Voice in my car yet, but I'm sure Kia and some of the other automotive companies here can speak to. This is quickly becoming a reality and something that's going to be integrated in everyday automobiles. So I thought this was really interesting. If you look back here, we've got a little laser pointer. I think most people don't even recognize that search with voice started a lot longer ago than in the last couple years. If you look back at 2014, Domino's, of all brands, they were actually one of the first to be proactive in the space as a leading a leading brand, they actually launched a voice ordering mobile app way back in early 2014, even prior to Amazon launching the Echo. And so in 2014, Echo gets launched. Effectively, only Prime subscribers are allowed to order it, so it's a gated experience, if you will, and it creates, I think, a lot of hype that only a finite amount of the total Amazon population is actually allowed to engage with this brand new game changer, if you will. A little bit later on, Google launches Home, powered by Google Home Assistant. Amazon launches some new voice. Amazon Echo is available for Prime products, and so on and so forth. And you see at some point in June 17, Apple joins. And then in 2017 as well, the other big move is that you see a lot of mainstream retailers start to jump into the space. So the Targets, the Sephoras, the Oracles, the Costcos of the world are really getting actively involved. And then this most recent move in late 2017, effectively Amazon and Google have launched new generations of their products that have even better syntax capabilities. And so if you look at this line, the human accuracy threshold is what we see along the top, this is 95%. And that's effectively day-to-day dialogue that I would have with anybody in this room. What's happened over the last 3 years is that the voice recognition capability of Google in particular has got to the point where an average human can't actually disseminate whether or not they're interacting with technology or whether or not they're actually interacting with another human being. And so I think if we take a look here, the technology is so good right now that 49% of consumers would prefer a voice assistant over human interaction in shops and in call center interactions, so on and so forth. And so I'm going to roll another video here, and this is from Google I/O this year. They played a couple different segments of the voice assist technology, actually having real live interaction with people on the other end of the phone that had no idea that they were talking to a computer. And so it's about a minute if we can go ahead and roll that clip.
So how can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have at 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's your first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So that obviously got a pretty overwhelming response at Google I/O. And they do a couple other examples of people calling up. And I think, as you guys heard from this example, the level of technology and the level of sophistication that goes into it is absolutely astounding. And when you think about this technology, what's been possible in the last 3 or 4 years, it really kind of opens one's eyes open to what's going to be possible probably in the next 12 to 18 months. And while clearly voice is still very much in its infancy, it moved quickly in the similar capacity to what we saw with mobile. So how big is the actual opportunity? So does anybody have any guess at how many voice-connected devices there are right now in the world? Anybody? 80 million. Bigger. Todd, how many?
3 billion.
3 billion. Todd's a little bit closer. 500 million enabled devices. So I think a lot of us think that enabled devices pretty much consist of, there's a couple Sonos speakers, there's the stuff that comes directly from Google, there's the phones, there's the stuff that comes directly from Amazon. But in reality, this ecosystem is considerably larger than one would initially anticipate. In holiday 2018, it was estimated that 30% of people would use voice for some form of shopping behavior, whether it was pricing, whether it was looking at reviews. And what's really interesting is that there's extensive multilingual support. And I don't know if everybody can see this, but right now there's actually, there's US English and Canadian English, both supported. So obviously they're invested in the right places. That was a joke, but okay. Let's see. So look, when I was talking to some of my peers about this, everybody was everybody recognized the fact that this is big. It's coming, but they don't want to be a first mover. What if they come out with something and it doesn't work? I think the important thing to keep in mind here is that there's already plenty of big brands, some brands that are already in this room, that are very active in voice and in conversational commerce. And whether it's your travel companies, the United, whether it's Target for pure e-com, whether it's Disney for entertainment, whether it's Fitbit for devices, this movement has really already started, and there's a lot of good learnings that we can get from seeing what other players in the space have already done. And so just wanted to provide a couple examples. And before I get into it, I think the other really important thing that you keep in mind is, there's this device, your mobile phone that you carry with you everywhere. It's very intimate, the relationship with this device. You probably spend more time with this device. It's the first thing that you pick up in the morning. It's the last thing that you put down when you go to bed. Average consumer interacts with it 100 times a day. That's more than I interact with my wife and my kids combined. So this is a very intimate product, and to be able to engage with a customer on this product, as well as something that they have in their home that's listening at all times, there's a lot of trust required. But if you do it well, the ability to go ahead and create an intimate relationship and to become utilitarian and just really kind of build that brand advocacy and brand loyalty, it's pretty significant what voice is making brands capable of. So if you think about it, high level, brands like Patron, there's an Amazon skill. Effectively, you say, ask Patron, and you can go ahead and ask Patron a variety of things. If you want to know about the history of tequila, if you want to know how to make a fruity cocktail, if you want to know how to muddle, Patron will go ahead and guide you through it. Look at brands like Sephora that have done a really phenomenal job partnering with Google in particular on this type of technology. So they were really one of the first to market to not just obviously create how-to videos for people when it comes to applying makeup, so on and so forth, but they took it a level further by integrating with Google Voice to make it simple to find these things. They've done a great job tagging all their metadata so that when you search for products, services, and how-to clips, they tend to consistently show up towards the top of the YouTube results. The other really interesting thing that they've done is they were one of the first brands to integrate with the new Google Hub. And so what's really interesting is Sephora actually sells a Google Hub on their website. So maybe you would just think that I'm going to buy makeup on Sephora.com, but they've had such a tight relationship with how-to videos, clips. They've really kind of embedded this experience as part of their online experience. And so another brand that's doing great things in that capacity. Lyft and Uber, both of them have utilitarian functionality where obviously from your phone or just from talking to your device, you're able to hail an Uber or a Lyft and it'll get there pretty quickly. And then finally, Target. I think Target, Walmart are probably the two brands that I look to that have really kind of been innovators in the space. They partnered with Google long ago to really kind of drive that commerce component and capability. And they've done some really interesting things like couponing and a couple other pieces that I think have yielded some great success and some great visibility within the marketplace. So, just going to put this out there. Anybody seen the weather today? Anybody? No? It's going to be pretty cold out there. So I think I'm going to go and I'm going to try purchasing on Alexa right now. And let's see how easy it is, because probably a lot of people in this room have not actually purchased via voice. And unfortunately, until I started doing this, I don't think I had even purchased via voice. So let's see how long it actually takes to order something. Alexa, men's small ski gloves.
Amazon's choice for men's small ski gloves is ski gloves, snowboard, snowmobile, waterproof, windproof 3M Thinsulate winter warm snow gloves. It's $14.99 on Amazon. Would you like to buy it?
Okay.
Would you like to buy it?
Yes.
Okay. Order placed. Your total is $16.49, including tax, and will be delivered by December 16th.
So I think my wife's watching the live stream. If you could cancel that order for me right now, honey, I appreciate it. But I think you guys get the point, right? Like, this is something that maybe that's not the most streamlined experience, but very simple. People use obviously the fact that there's one click for checkout, so on and so forth, being able to do that via voice in a very simple process. And the more specific you are with what you ask Amazon, the more specific you're going to be with the actual results and the better the overall user experience. And clearly, even from that, something okay when I'm responding in the affirmative, the fact that she still kind of needed to hear that yes or that no, there's clearly a little bit of room to operate and room to improve. But this stuff is coming, and it's coming pretty fast. All right, voice is important. What else are people doing with it? I think we all realize that example of a direct purchase is probably not something that we're seeing a lot of right now. So, the volume might be low, but voice is really, really becoming important in the journey from start to finish. And so if we look at how people are actually spending time, effectively, if you're looking here along the bottom, the numbers are corresponding with the activity. So 47% of people are doing product research, 43% creating shopping lists, 32% price compare, researching store information, 28%. The ones that I'm most interested in particular are around placing one-time orders for delivery and then reordering items and replenishing, and those fall in nicely in that 20%-ish range. And so I think, realistically, maybe a fifth of the population is using, or the fifth of the people who are using voice-enabled devices are using them for experiences that tie very closely to commerce, but I think this number is only going to improve over time. And so, look, whenever you look at these types of new technologies, I mean, if you think about, 7 or 8 years ago, before people were building responsive sites and they were building sites specifically for mobile or specifically for desktop, one of the things that came up was like, all right, we know mobile's coming, but how do we justify the investment in it? And I think if you take a look at shifts in consumer behavior, people are really starting to move towards being more comfortable. That Google I/O example is a perfect one where people are getting more comfortable interacting with technology whether or not they know it's there. When you think about the chatbots that you interact with and how quickly you're able to get a resolution, often a lot more quickly than if you actually call up and speak to somebody. And so this view is over the next couple years. This is from Capgemini. This is a phenomenal report that an old colleague, Mark Taylor, put together. But if you look at it, they're effectively highlighting here that they're going to look at replacing human interactions with a voice assistant experience over the next couple years. And so if you look at it, areas like customer support, call centers, salespeople in store, relationship managers, checkout counters, telebankers, I mean, on average, the vast majority of these items over the next 3 years, there's going to be a lot more technology driving them. And so when you think about that, look, nobody wants to be replaced by a computer, and I don't think nobody should interpret it purely as that. But there's a meaningful savings to be had when we take the actual human element out of the day-to-day operations and when we're able to replace it with smart technology. Capgemini number here says 49% of consumers would prefer a voice assistant over human interactions in shops, call centers, because it's faster. Sometimes it is faster. You don't have to deal with the pleasantries. You don't have to deal with the, oh, hi, good afternoon, how's your day? You don't have to deal with them asking you to tell you your name, even though you already put in your name. You don't have to deal with them, I apologize, you don't have to deal with giving them your account number, even though you already entered your account number in the keypad to get to that point where you can talk to somebody. And so when it comes to making the IT investment to kind of propel your brand into voice commerce, I think the savings story when you look at things like this is, look, we're going to draw down resource costs by investing in technology. And honestly, the savings here, it's not just the upfront cost and savings of bringing the human element out of it, but it's the savings in perpetuity. It might cost $100,000 to get set up, and then maybe you're spending $10,000 a year upgrading versus a perpetual $100,000 every year to have a headcount on hand to perform a similar task. So why are we talking about this now? Why do you need to worry about this now? So I think there are a couple of large brands that Google's partnering with. There's something called Google Shopping Actions, and this is kind of the next iteration of Google Shopping. Not that long ago, Google Shopping Express rolled out, and what's happened is with Google Shopping Actions, Google is slowly starting to roll into a rev share-based model to better compete with Amazon. And so if you look, what we'll slowly start to see is the first slot, and if you look over here on the far right, these are both ad units for Target. And so the one on the far left, or it's on the right, but it's the far left, it's Up and Up automatic dishwashing detergent, and you see it has the Google Express iconography associated with it. This would be a product where Target's not actually paying on a CPC basis, they're paying on a rev share basis. For us as marketers, particularly as marketers in the e-commerce space, the idea of only having to pay when somebody buys is pretty revolutionary, and it's something that Amazon's done a really good job with. And I think at some point Google realized that because they weren't participatory in that they were missing out on a lot of ad dollars. And so I think there's tremendous benefit. Speak to your Google rep specifically about this. I can't get too much into what we're doing here, only that there are a variety of large brands that are very active in this. And so if you're in Shopping Express and you do a couple more layers of development, it gets you into more visibility within Google Assist and then the sponsored shopping unit on search. So why now? Look, if you really think about it, if you think about some different MarTech when it was in its infancy, I mean, I don't know if everybody remembers the old Facebook ad unit that was like, I think generally it was like scantily clad women with like chicklet size visuals, and they were advertising all sorts of like detox and vitamin supplements, et cetera, et cetera. Some of us are old enough to remember what Facebook ads used to look like. And you know, there were companies that were on at the beginning and they really netted out when costs were low. So if you think about that and you compare it to this, this whole ecosystem is very much in its infancy. If you think about SEO 10 years ago, when all you had to do was update a title tag and add some body copy, and now how challenging is it to rank well? It's become infinitely more challenging. Marketing costs. Costs are still pretty low on this as marketers evolve. You know, if you look back at the infancy of mobile ads, I mean, mobile ads have come up a little bit in cost, but you know, those brands that were able to be involved early on and effectively attribute the cost and the revenue from that, they netted out very well. The formats, these formats are going to start to compete in the PLA space. And so, you know, if you can be there on a rev share basis versus a CPC basis as a brand, it represents some significant opportunity. Costs are low, benefits are high. Obviously, rev share based model, you're only paying if you sell. And then personalization, I think, is the other piece here. You know, everything that we get right now from our device is generally pretty personalized. And so if you're not a brand that's at the forefront of this, let's say you go and you shop for toilet paper on your Google Home, and Google gives you a price from Alexa, or I apologize, from Walmart and from Target, you know, and you consistently start going with Walmart, at some point Google's not even going to offer you Target because they're going to see that you're aligned to Walmart as a retailer. And so it's really important that you're able to be here early and establish preference, you know, with that end user. So HP is, I can highlight some of the things that we're doing, and I'm going to go through this pretty quickly and then give you guys some tips on the back end that you guys can go ahead and get in market. We're starting to innovate by integrating a lot of voice functionality directly into our devices. And so we've got a new line of printers called Tango, and they connect directly to Echo, Home, Cortana, and we're creating utilitarian ways to leverage these products. So for example, you can say, Alexa, print my to-do list or print my shopping list, and it'll automatically go and send it right to the printer and print it out. Or for your kids, Alexa, print Crayola coloring pages, and it'll automatically go and print Crayola coloring pages. So there's no actual physical interaction. And then the other thing that we're really starting to do is to integrate the messaging with our partners themselves. And so you'll see in this screenshot on Amazon, right there in the lower right, it highlights that this works with Alexa. And so, you know, having the functionality and then promoting the functionality to improve overall conversion rate is something that we've started to do a lot more of. When it comes to the marketing element itself, we're recently live in Google Express, and we're completing the integration of Google Shopping Actions, so we'll be able to compete in that rev share environment. The other thing that's kind of big is, and not really often spoken to, is the idea of focusing SEO efforts on position 0 results. And just so everybody's on the same page, position 0 results are generally irrefutable facts. And so, what time is it? When did John F. Kennedy die? Those types of facts that are kind of set in stone, so to speak. And so, you know, for you as a brand, being able to be in this space when somebody asks something about your brand, you want that opportunity, because right now a lot of what you get when you ask a question is coming from Wikipedia. And there's no reason it has to come from Wikipedia. This is an example of how long do HP laptops last. Okay, so maybe it's not a hard fact, but the great SEO team at my office, we write a lot of content. We have a Tech Takes article that specifically addresses this item. So think about your brand. What are the position 0 results that you want to have that are relevant to your brand or your specific vertical? And then just work aggressively to get that content out there. Position 0 results generally are the first and only result when you ask Google a question that's going to show up. And then the other big piece here is growing and maintaining Amazon choice ratings for Alexa visibility. when it comes to purchasing a product on Amazon via voice, it's almost, I'm not going to say 100%, but almost exclusively Amazon Choice products that are showing up there. And so to gain choice ratings and visibility effectively, never running out of stock, high reviews, and quick shipping are some of the core criteria for that. And it's something that we really push hard with our hardware and supplies. All right, everybody's sold on voice. Anything that you can actually take back to the office and go do now? There's a couple. As I highlighted early on, Amazon Choice, keep products in stock, keep them delivered on time. Make sure products are easy to find. This was an interesting stat that 69% of customers, they know exactly the product they wish to buy. So we spend a lot of money steering customers. More often than not, by the time the customer gets to that zero moment of truth, if you will, they know exactly what they want, and you need to be there. So just make sure your products are easy to find. And a big piece of this is around being specific. When it comes to voice, it's very long tail. So not just trying to get your brand out there or your product out there for Heinz ketchup, but organic Heinz ketchup. These little tweaks go a long way when it comes to dominating the voice results. And then in Google, optimizing for position 0, what time is it, for example. Optimizing for questions people really ask. So this was an interesting one that they had as I was kind of digging around, and this question says, okay Google, how do you respond to negative reviews online? And so there's an article here from Bright Local that if you look at the subject line, it ties very specifically back to that query. So a lot of it gets back to kind of very long tail SEO optimization. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting that I've seen a little bit of late is both Target here and Best Buy, they've started to put out coupons for voice ordering. And so, something like get $20 off your first order of $100 or more at Target. And that starts to generate that level of loyalty and personalization with the Target brand. And so you get more comfortable using the actual technology itself, voice, but then you start to align yourself to Target as being a brand that is kind of, when I need to buy something via voice, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to buy it from Target. And then I think if you look a little bit further down the road, and these are, one thing that's important to keep in mind is, first and foremost, low consideration items. Look, I'm not going to lie to you. People aren't buying laptops using Google Voice Search. That's just not, I would love it if they did, but they don't. People are buying ink. People are going, hey Google, buy HP Black 61 ink, because I'm out. Right? Those types of low consideration products are the products, if you were going to go and you were going to start testing and spending a little bit of time in this space, that's what you want to do. You want to go after the low-hanging fruit. I think the next big opportunity, and this is still in its infancy a little bit, but post-purchase, replenishment and cross-sell ops. And so, if you buy coffee filters from Target, and Target knows that on average you buy 100 coffee filters, they'll probably last you, if you make coffee every day, they'll probably last you for 3 months. And then, next time when it comes time to buy more coffee filters, Target's just reminding you, hey, you might be low on coffee filters. By the way, we have a special on Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Pair them together and you can get them for X dollars and they'll be delivered in the next 48 hours. So thinking about cross-selling and upselling, great opportunity there. Still in its infancy, the technology exists. Some brands are starting to slowly leverage it. And then the final piece, and I think this is kind of like a little bit further out there, but we really do, obviously, as brands want to know how customers are integrating with our products and what they think of the product experience that they're having. And so, we're all familiar with NPS surveys. Being able to ask the NPS questions on a recent purchase via voice, natural, quick, it's really important information for us to all have as brands. And so I think there's some new opportunities that are coming up that are worth capitalizing on. And that is that. Does anybody have any questions?
Wow, that was excellent. Round of applause, huh? Well done, sir. I know there's a lot of questions, guys, but you know what? It's the overtime thing. So actually, Morgan, you can talk to him during the coffee break, which is later, or at the round table, maybe for a little bit before you guys all head out to do your activities. But unfortunately, we can't do questions right now. I apologize for that. But another round of applause for Morgan. That was excellent information. You're good.